On the edge of the galaxy, far beyond the reaches of human exploration, lay the planet Viralaya. The surface was covered with soft, silver grass that swayed in gentle winds, and tall crystal trees reflected sunlight like colorful prisms. The air was thin but breathable, filled with the scent of strange flowers and the hum of quiet energy. Viralaya was once the center of a great alien civilization, but now it was calm and silent, almost like a sleeping world. Among the few who remained was Nara, a young-looking alien woman with smooth green skin that shimmered softly under the sun. Her eyes were large and golden, full of wisdom and kindness. Nara had not stood for 20 years. A long time ago, she had suffered an accident that left her unable to use her legs. She moved slowly in a specially designed wheelchair that glided effortlessly over the silver grass. She had learned to live with her condition, spending her days observing the quiet world around her. She read ancient texts, tended small gardens, and spoke softly to those who came to visit. Nara had grown used to the routine of her life. Each day was calm, predictable, and safe. She had friends among the remaining Viralians, but few dared to approach her too closely. They respected her intelligence and gentle spirit but worried about causing her trouble. Nara, however, never felt lonely. She had learned to find peace in her thoughts and the beauty of the quiet planet. One morning, Nara noticed something unusual. A small light streaked across the sky and descended rapidly toward the northern fields. It was unlike anything she had seen before. Curious, she rolled her wheelchair to the edge of the crystal garden that surrounded her home and watched carefully. The light slowed, hovered, and then gently touched the ground. A plume of silver dust rose and settled, revealing a small human spacecraft. Nara had heard of humans before. Their species was young compared to the Viralians, but humans were known across the galaxy for their curiosity and determination. They traveled boldly into unknown worlds, often risking themselves to learn and explore. Nara's heart stirred with excitement. For the first time in many years, something new had arrived on her planet. A human emerged from the spacecraft. He was tall, with short brown hair and bright eyes that seemed full of wonder. He wore a simple suit that adapted to Viralaya's thin atmosphere. Nara watched silently as he took careful steps across the silver grass. He paused often, bending down to touch plants, observe small insects, and study the air around him. His movements were careful, respectful, and curious. The human noticed Nara almost immediately. He stepped closer, raising his hand in greeting. Nara hesitated for a moment, unsure if she should respond. Humans were not known for their subtlety, and she did not want to draw unnecessary attention. But something about his gentle presence made her calm. Slowly, she raised a hand in return. The human smiled warmly. "Hello," he said in a soft voice. His words were strange, but Nara could sense kindness in them. She replied in her own language, her voice smooth and melodic. The human tilted his head, listening carefully, and then made sounds that Nara began to understand. Soon, a slow conversation began, filled with gestures, smiles, and small phrases. Nara felt something she had not felt in many years. She felt curiosity. She felt excitement. She felt a gentle hope. The human did not rush her or treat her with pity. Instead, he seemed genuinely interested in her thoughts, and in the world she knew so well. For several days, the human returned to the crystal gardens, exploring carefully while speaking to Nara. He brought small gifts, bright flowers from his planet, simple tools, and even small objects that fascinated Nara. She examined each carefully, asking questions and marveling at the ingenuity of humans. In return, she showed him her gardens, the delicate structure of the crystal trees, and the ancient Viorlian texts that contain the knowledge of centuries. The presence of the human began to change something inside Nara. She realized how much she had missed learning, connecting, and experiencing the world beyond her routine. The gentle curiosity of the human inspired her. She began moving her arms more freely, reaching out to touch the plants, adjusting her wheelchair to follow him across the fields. She laughed softly at his clumsy attempts to mimic her careful movements. The sound of her laughter echoed through the crystal gardens, a rare melody on the silent planet. The other Viorlians noticed the change in Nara. Some whispered in wonder, while others approached to watch the interactions from a distance. They had never seen Nara so engaged, so alive. Even the elders, who were cautious of humans, could not hide their surprise. The quiet planet seemed to awaken a little with her renewed energy. As the sun set over Viralia, Nara watched the human carefully pack his small spacecraft. She realized that, for the first time in decades, something inside her wanted to try. She did not yet know what she would do, but the seed of hope had been planted. Tomorrow might be just another day, or it might be the day her life changed forever. And for the first time in 20 years, Nara felt that change was possible. The morning sun rose over Viralia, turning the silver grass into a sea of soft light. Nara's golden eyes opened slowly as she listened to the gentle hum of the planet. Her thoughts drifted to the human who had arrived the day before. She remembered his careful steps, the way he had smiled, and the curiosity in his voice. Nara felt a small thrill of excitement. She wondered if he would return today. As she rolled through the crystal gardens, she noticed small changes. The plants seemed to sway more brightly in the morning light, and even the air felt fresher. Nara realized that the arrival of the human had brought a quiet energy to the planet, something she had not felt in many years. Her curiosity grew stronger with each passing moment. Suddenly, a soft voice called from the distance. "Hello." The voice was human, and it carried warmth. Nara looked up and saw him. He moved carefully across the grass, holding a small device in his hands. The device hummed softly, scanning the plants as he passed. Nara watched him closely, her eyes filled with curiosity. The human stopped a short distance from her. "Good morning," he said, raising a hand in greeting. His smile was gentle, and his eyes reflected interest. Nara responded in her language, and he listened carefully, nodding as if understanding every word. "I am Tom," the human said finally, introducing himself in a way that Nara could understand. "I am here to learn about your planet and your people." Nara felt a small excitement in her chest. Humans were brave, venturing into unknown worlds. She slowly introduced herself. "I am Nara," she said. "I have lived here for a long time. This world is quiet now, but it once held great life." Tom moved closer, careful not to startle her. "I would like to see that life," he said. "Can you show me?" Nara hesitated. She was not used to guiding visitors. Most aliens kept their distance, and she preferred quiet. But something about Tom's gentle presence encouraged her. She nodded slowly. "I will show you," she said. Together, they moved through the gardens. Nara guided Tom past the crystal trees, pointing out the delicate structure of their branches. She showed him the small pools of water where tiny creatures swam, reflecting the sky like tiny stars. Tom listened carefully, asking questions and making small notes on his device. Nara felt a sense of pride as she shared her knowledge. As they moved, Tom knelt down to examine a small flower that glowed softly under the sun. "This is amazing," he said. "How does it survive here?" Nara smiled. "It is strong," she said. "It has learned to grow quietly, even when the world is still. Sometimes, even in silence, life finds a way." Tom looked at her closely. "You are like this flower," he said softly. "You have strength, even though life has been quiet for a long time." Nara felt a warmth in her chest. Humans spoke differently from aliens, but sometimes their words reached deep inside. She had not heard praise like that in many years. She smiled, a small, genuine smile that touched her eyes. They spent the day exploring the northern fields. Tom pointed out patterns in the silver grass, and Nara explained how the wind shaped them over centuries. They discovered small caves with glowing minerals, and Nara showed Tom how to read the ancient markings on the walls. Each moment was filled with learning, laughter, and quiet wonder. As the sun began to set, Tom and Nara returned to the gardens near her home. Tom carried a small gift for her, a simple crystal from his ship. "It is from my planet," he said. "I hope you will keep it." Nara took it carefully, examining the smooth surface. "It is beautiful," she said. "Thank you." Tom smiled. "You are welcome. I will return tomorrow. There is so much more I want to learn from you." Nara watched him leave, her mind alive with thoughts. For the first time in years, she felt anticipation. Tomorrow promised more than routine. Tomorrow promised connection. She realized that this human, simple and curious, had awakened something inside her. The quiet of Viralia remained, but it felt different now. It was not empty or still. It carried the hope of new experiences, the possibility of change, and the gentle warmth of friendship. Nara returned to her small home, her mind filled with plans for tomorrow. For 20 years, she had accepted the silence. Now, she felt a small, steady excitement. The human had brought more than curiosity and gifts. He had brought a spark, a reminder that life could still surprise and inspire. As the stars appeared in the sky, Nara looked up and whispered softly to herself. "Perhaps, after all this time, life is not finished for me." And for the first time in decades, she imagined what it would feel like to rise, to move freely, and to embrace the possibilities of tomorrow. The morning sun painted Viralia in shades of gold and silver. The crystal trees glimmered as light passed through them, scattering tiny rainbows across the soft grass. Nara rolled her wheelchair through the gardens, feeling a quiet excitement she had not experienced in many years. Yesterday's encounter with the human, Tom, had left her mind alive with new thoughts. She could not stop thinking about his gentle voice and curious questions. When she reached the northern fields, she saw him already there. Tom knelt by a small cluster of glowing flowers, examining their patterns. When he noticed Nara, he waved with a bright smile. "Good morning, Nara," he said. "Look at these flowers. They seem to follow the sun." Nara smiled. "Yes, they move slowly, but they are always aware of light. They survive because they are patient." She paused, studying his human expression. "Do humans have flowers like this?" Tom laughed softly. "We have many flowers, but none that move like this. They are still and beautiful in their own way. I think these flowers are special, just like this planet." Nara felt warmth in her chest at his words. Humans often spoke with wonder, noticing small details that aliens sometimes overlooked. She realized that Tom's curiosity was different from others she had met. It was pure, honest, and patient. As they walked through the fields, Nara showed him how the plants and crystals interacted with the wind. She explained how the silver grass grew in patterns, and how tiny creatures lived in the pools of water. Tom listened closely, asking questions that made Nara think deeply. She realized that teaching him gave her a sense of purpose she had forgotten. During their walk, Tom paused and looked at her with a gentle expression. "Nara, can I ask you something?" Nara tilted her head. "Of course." "Have you ever thought about standing again?" he asked softly. Nara froze. Her heart raced at the question. She had not stood in 20 years. Her legs were weak, and her body had grown accustomed to the wheelchair. The thought was both frightening and strange. Nara hesitated. "I have not tried in many years. It is difficult. I do not know if I could." Tom nodded. "I understand. But sometimes, trying is the first step. You do not have to succeed immediately. Just trying can change many things." Nara thought about his words. She realized he was not asking her to rush or to be brave for the sake of others. He was asking her to explore her own strength, to discover what she was capable of. Something inside her stirred. A small spark of hope flickered, a feeling she had almost forgotten. For the rest of the day, they explored quietly. Tom showed Nara small devices from his ship that helped measure light and energy. Nara watched with fascination, asking questions and learning about human tools. In return, she taught him how to read the markings on the crystal trees and how the water in the pools reflected the sky. Each moment was filled with discovery, and Nara felt a joy she had not known in decades. When they rested under a crystal tree, Tom handed Nara a small flower he had picked carefully. It was bright blue, with petals that seemed almost like glass. "This is for you," he said. "It reminds me of your planet's beauty." Nara took it gently, holding it close. "It is lovely." "Thank you, Tom." She realized that even small gestures could bring connection and hope. The human's kindness, his patient curiosity, and his respect for her knowledge had awakened something inside her. The other Viralians watched from a distance. They were cautious but curious about the human's influence on Nara. They noticed her energy and her willingness to engage. Some whispered that perhaps the human had brought more than curiosity to the planet. Perhaps he had brought a spark that could change even those who thought life had settled into quiet routines. As the sun dipped lower, Nara and Tom returned to the gardens near her home. She felt lighter, as if a small weight had been lifted. She had not realized how much she had missed learning, laughing, and connecting with another being. The day had reminded her that life could still hold surprises, even after decades of stillness. Before he left, Tom looked at her with a soft smile. "I will return tomorrow," he said. "There is still so much to discover, and I would like to learn it from you." Nara watched him leave, her mind alive with new thoughts. She felt curiosity grow stronger within her. For the first time in 20 years, she imagined that perhaps the world was not finished with her. Perhaps there were steps she could take, experiences she could embrace, and strength she could rediscover. That night, Nara sat quietly by her window, watching the stars. Her heart felt lighter, and her mind was full of possibilities. The spark that Tom had ignited in her would not fade quickly. She realized that life could still be full of wonder, and that even in quiet isolation, change was possible. For the first time in decades, Nara felt hope rising within her. And deep down, she wondered if the next day might bring even greater possibilities than she dared to imagine. The morning sun spilled golden light across the silver fields of Viralaya. Nara felt a strange excitement as she moved her wheelchair toward the northern gardens. Her mind wandered back to yesterday, to the gentle encouragement of the human, Tom, and the spark of hope he had awakened within her. She wondered what new discoveries awaited today. Tom was already there, kneeling near a patch of glowing blue flowers. He looked up and smiled warmly when he saw Nara. "Good morning, Nara," he said. "I have something new for us to try today." Nara's heart beat faster. She was curious but also anxious. She had not stood in 20 years. Her legs were weak, her muscles stiff, and the thought of trying again made her uneasy. Yet she felt trust in Tom. His patience, his careful movements, and his genuine respect for her abilities made her believe that this challenge would be safe. Tom moved closer. "Nara," he said softly, "you have taught me so much about your planet and your people. I think it is time to see what your body can do. We can take small steps. I will support you." Nara hesitated. Fear rose in her chest. She remembered the accident from years ago, the moment her legs had failed her, and the long months of recovery that had never fully restored her strength. But Tom's calm voice was different from the worries and doubts that had surrounded her for decades. He did not rush her. He did not demand anything from her. He only offered help. Slowly, Nara nodded. "I will try," she said. Her voice was soft but steady. Tom adjusted his stance beside her wheelchair. He placed his hands gently on hers. "We will go together," he said. "Just take one step at a time." Nara took a deep breath and leaned forward. She felt the support of Tom's hands, strong and steady, as she lifted her body slightly. Her legs trembled, and a wave of fear washed over her. But she remembered the lessons of patience she had learned on this quiet planet. She focused on her breathing and the gentle encouragement in Tom's eyes. She tried to push herself up further, but her legs wobbled, unable to support her weight. She sank back into the wheelchair, feeling both disappointment and determination. Tom smiled softly. "That was a good effort," he said. "Even trying is progress. We will keep going." Nara looked at him and realized that failure was not the end. It was only a step on the path to something greater. With renewed determination, she tried again. This time, she pushed herself slightly higher, feeling the strength in her arms and the faint movement in her legs. Her heart raced, but she did not stop. The aliens who had been observing from a distance watched silently. They had never seen Nara attempt something so bold. Some whispered in awe, noting the patience of the human and the courage of the alien woman. For the first time in many years, Nara was challenging herself, pushing against limits that had defined her life for 2 decades. Tom guided her carefully, encouraging small movements and praising every success. "Yes, Nara, you are doing well," he said. "Feel your strength. You have more than you realize." Nara began to feel a small surge of energy. Her legs were weak, but her body remembered fragments of old strength. She lifted herself higher, leaning on Tom's hands and her determination. A small smile appeared on her face as she realized she was doing more than she had imagined. By the end of the morning, Nara had managed to rise slightly more than before. She was exhausted, her muscles trembling, but a new sense of possibility filled her. Tom stepped back, giving her space. "That is enough for today," he said softly. "We will continue tomorrow. You are stronger than you think." Nara rolled back to her small home in the gardens. Her mind buzzed with excitement and quiet pride. She had tried something she thought impossible. For the first time in 20 years, she had felt the movement of rising, even if only for a few moments. As the twin sons of Viralaya set, casting long golden shadows across the silver grass, Nara sat quietly by the window. Her thoughts drifted to the day ahead. She realized that the gentle encouragement of a friend, the patient guidance of someone who believed in her, had opened a door she had long thought closed. She whispered softly to herself, a small vow filled with hope and determination. Tomorrow, I will try again. I will discover my strength. And with that thought, Nara felt a quiet warmth in her chest. The silent planet seemed to hum with possibility, and for the first time in decades, she imagined a life where she could rise, walk, and explore the world once more. The morning light stretched across Viralaya, casting soft patterns on the silver grass. Nara felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness as she moved toward the northern gardens in her wheelchair. Yesterday's attempt at standing had left her tired, but also filled with a small spark of hope. Today, she was ready to continue. Tom was already waiting, kneeling near a cluster of small crystal flowers. He waved as Nara approached. "Good morning, Nara," he said. "Are you ready for today?" Nara nodded slowly. "I am ready," she said. Her voice was quiet but determined. She had thought about the challenge all night. Every movement of her body, every effort she had made yesterday, had reminded her that even after 20 years, she still had strength to discover. Tom adjusted his stance beside her wheelchair. "We will take it slowly," he said. "Every small movement counts. We will build your strength step by step." Nara took a deep breath and placed her hands on the handles of the wheelchair. With Tom's steady support, she leaned forward and pushed slightly with her arms. Her legs trembled beneath her, but she felt a faint sense of movement. Tom guided her gently, his hands firm yet patient. "Good," he said softly. "Feel your muscles. You have more power than you know." For hours, they worked together. Nara learned to move her legs in small, careful motions. Tom encouraged her to focus on balance, to trust her body, and to breathe steadily. Sometimes she wobbled and sank back into the wheelchair, but each time she tried again, she gained a little more strength. During the exercises, Nara began to notice something remarkable. Her body remembered movements from long ago. Tiny memories of walking, running, and standing came back in flashes. Her legs were weak, but her mind and spirit were growing stronger. She felt her confidence returning with each small step. The other Viralians watched quietly from a distance. They were amazed at the patient guidance of the human and the courage of Nara. For many years, they had thought that she could not stand again. Now, they saw her determination, and it inspired hope in them as well. Even the elders whispered to each other about the possibility of change. At midday, Tom brought a small device from his ship. It was designed to help measure muscle activity and balance. Nara watched closely as he adjusted it around her legs. "This will help us see your progress," Tom explained. "It will also help us understand how to make the next steps easier." Nara nodded. She felt a strange excitement at the idea of measuring her own strength. She had spent so many years in stillness that even the smallest progress felt remarkable. With the device in place, Nara began to rise again. She leaned forward carefully, pushing with her arms while Tom supported her. This time, she stayed upright slightly longer than yesterday. Her legs trembled, but she did not fall back. A small smile spread across her face as she realized that she was achieving something she had not imagined possible. "Excellent, Nara," Tom said, his voice filled with genuine pride. "Look at you. You are standing for longer now." Nara laughed softly. It was a sound of joy and discovery, a sound that had not been heard in her home for many years. She felt the strength in her legs, small as it was, and she felt the excitement of possibility. The sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the silver fields. Nara and Tom rested under a crystal tree. Her muscles were tired, but her spirit was light. She realized that each small effort, each careful movement, was part of a journey. Standing was no longer a distant dream, it was becoming real, one step at a time. Tom smiled and placed a small crystal in her hands. "This is for you," he said. "A reminder of your strength today." Nara held the crystal carefully, feeling its smooth surface. She realized that strength was not just in her legs but in her determination, her courage, and the trust she had found in a friend. The simple act of trying had begun to change her life. As the twin suns set, Nara watched the light reflect on the silver grass. She felt a deep sense of hope and excitement. For the first time in decades, she believed that she could rise fully, that she could walk, and that life still had adventures to offer her. Nara whispered softly to herself. "I am learning. I am growing. I will rise." The quiet planet of Viralaya seemed to hum with approval, as if it had been waiting for this moment. Nara's journey was just beginning, but she already knew that her life was changing. With patience, courage, and the support of a kind friend, she was discovering that even after years of stillness, strength, and hope could return. The morning on Viralaya was calm and bright. The silver grass swayed gently in the wind, reflecting the sunlight in soft patterns. Nara felt her heart beat faster than usual as she moved her wheelchair toward the northern gardens. Today felt different. She had practiced carefully for weeks, building strength in her legs and learning to trust her body again. Today, she felt ready for something greater. Tom was waiting near the crystal flowers, kneeling in the soft grass. When he saw Nara approach, he smiled warmly. "Good morning, Nara," he said. "Are you ready?" Nara nodded slowly. Her golden eyes glimmered with determination. "I am ready," she said. Her voice was calm but strong. The anticipation in her chest was a mix of excitement and nervousness, but she felt courage rising within her. Tom stepped closer, placing his hands gently on hers. "We will take it slowly," he said. "Remember all the steps we practiced. You are stronger than you realize. I will support you every moment." Nara took a deep breath. She placed her hands firmly on the wheelchair and leaned forward. She pushed carefully, feeling the strength in her arms and the faint power in her legs. Tom held her steadily, his presence steady and reassuring. She could feel her muscles working, responding to her determination. The other Viralians had gathered quietly nearby. Some whispered in awe, remembering how long Nara had been unable to stand. Others watched in silence, amazed at the courage of both the human and the alien woman. They had never seen someone attempt this with such careful focus and trust. Nara felt her legs trembling beneath her. Her mind raced with memories of the accident, of the years she had spent in stillness. But she pushed those thoughts aside. She focused on the present, on the guidance of her friend, and on the strength she had been slowly building. With a gentle lift from Tom's hands and the determination in her own body, Nara rose a little higher than ever before. Her legs shook, her arms burned, but she held herself upright. A small gasp escaped her lips, not from fear but from realization. She was standing. The wind brushed softly against her face. For the first time in 20 years, Nara felt herself fully upright. Her golden eyes filled with tears of joy. She had never imagined this moment would be possible. The quiet planet seemed to hum in celebration. Tom smiled broadly, his eyes shining with pride. "You did it, Nara," he said. "You are standing." Nara's voice trembled as she spoke. I am standing." She took a small, careful step forward with Tom supporting her. Her legs wobbled, but she did not fall. She felt a power she had not known in decades. Each movement was a triumph, each step a victory. The Virelians around them gasped softly. Some whispered words of encouragement. Others looked at Nara with admiration and awe. They had witnessed something extraordinary. A woman who had not stood for 20 years had risen again, proving that strength and determination could overcome even the longest periods of stillness. Nara took another step, a little more confident this time. Her body was tired, but her spirit soared. She could feel the balance returning, the muscles responding to her will. Tom encouraged her gently, offering support only when needed. "You are doing wonderfully, Nara," he said. "Keep moving. Feel your strength." The crystal flowers around them swayed as if applauding her effort. The sunlight reflected in the silver grass, illuminating Nara as she took another step. She was learning to walk again, to trust herself, and to embrace the possibilities that life had to offer. Finally, Nara took a deep breath and let go of Tom's hands. She stood fully on her own legs, trembling slightly but steady. Her chest rose and fell as she smiled, feeling a freedom she had not known in 20 years. She had achieved what she thought was impossible. Tom clapped softly, his smile filled with pride and warmth. "You did it, Nara. You stood on your own." Nara looked around at the silent planet, at the Virelians who watched with awe, and at the golden light that bathed the fields. She realized that this moment was more than just standing. It was proof that life could change, that courage could overcome fear, and that hope could return even after decades of stillness. With careful steps, Nara began to walk slowly across the silver grass. Her legs were strong enough to carry her, her balance steady, and her spirit light. Each step was a celebration of determination, trust, and the kindness of a friend who had believed in her when she had doubted herself. By the time the twin suns set, Nara had walked several meters, each step more confident than the last. She returned to the crystal garden, smiling with a joy that had been buried for 20 years. She whispered softly to herself, filled with pride and hope. "I can stand. I can walk. Life is still full of possibilities." The quiet planet of Virilia seemed to hum with life. The wind carried a soft, celebratory sound, as if the world itself recognized Nara's triumph. Today, she had not just stood. She had risen above doubt, fear, and stillness. She had discovered that even in the quietest, loneliest places, strength and hope could return. And for the first time in decades, Nara felt truly free. The morning on Virilia was brighter than usual. The twin suns rose together, casting golden light across the silver grass and crystal trees. Nara felt a warmth in her chest as she stood in the northern gardens, fully upright for the first time in 20 years. She took a deep breath, letting the air fill her lungs and the energy of the planet fill her spirit. Tom was there, smiling warmly. "Good morning, Nara," he said. "How do you feel today?" Nara smiled, a radiant expression of joy and determination. I feel alive, she said. I feel free. For weeks, she had practiced with Tom's patient guidance, slowly regaining strength in her legs and balance in her body. Now, she could walk steadily across the gardens, her steps confident and deliberate. Each movement reminded her that life was not finished, that hope could return, and that even after long stillness, the world could open up again. The other Virelians had gathered nearby, watching in awe. Many approached her cautiously, inspired by her courage and determination. They whispered quietly, admiring her strength and the bond she had formed with the human who had arrived unexpectedly. Some elders, who had once doubted that change was possible, now smiled proudly. Nara had become a symbol of resilience and hope, showing that even the quietest life could awaken to new possibilities. Tom walked beside her as she explored the gardens. "You have done something incredible, Nara," he said. "You have proven that strength comes not only from the body but from courage, patience, and determination." Nara looked at him gratefully. "And you have reminded me of something I had forgotten," she said. "That connection, trust, and gentle encouragement can give life a new path. You helped me believe in myself." They walked past the crystal pools, where tiny creatures moved gracefully in the water. Nara noticed how the sunlight reflected on the surface, creating patterns she had not seen before. She realized that walking, standing, and moving through the world again allowed her to notice small wonders that she had missed during her years of stillness. Each step was a discovery, each moment a gift. The human and the alien woman continued through the gardens. Tom showed her new tools from his ship, designed to study plants and energy patterns. Nara, in turn, taught him how to read the ancient markings on the crystal trees, explaining their meanings and significance. Their friendship had grown stronger with each day, built on trust, curiosity, and mutual respect. As the day progressed, Nara began to explore beyond the familiar paths. She walked carefully over the silver grass, feeling the texture beneath her feet. Her legs were steady, her balance improving, and her confidence growing. She realized that life on Virelaya was not just quiet and still, it was alive and full of opportunities, waiting for her to embrace them. The other Virelians observed her progress and began to join in, inspired by her courage. Some brought small objects to show her, others offered encouragement. The quiet planet that had once been so still now seemed to awaken with new energy. Nara's determination had sparked hope not only in herself but in her people. By evening, Nara and Tom returned to the crystal gardens where their journey had begun. She looked around at the shimmering trees, the soft grass, and the glowing pools of water. For the first time in decades, she felt fully connected to the world, fully alive, and fully capable of shaping her future. "I never thought this would be possible," Nara said softly. 20 years of stillness, and now I can stand, walk, and explore again." Tom smiled. "You did this, Nara. I only offered my hand. You found the strength inside yourself. That is what matters." Nara nodded, her eyes reflecting gratitude and pride. She realized that the journey was more than physical. It was a journey of trust, patience, courage, and hope. She had learned that even when life seems quiet and unchanging, possibilities could awaken when one believed in themselves and allowed others to help. As the twin suns set over Virelaya, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Nara took a deep breath and whispered to herself, "This is only the beginning. Life has so much to offer, and I am ready to embrace it all." The silent planet seemed to hum in response, a gentle celebration of her triumph. Nara walked carefully but confidently across the silver fields, each step a symbol of courage and determination. She had risen, not only from her wheelchair but from years of doubt and stillness. Her story, the story of the alien woman who had not stood in 20 years, would inspire others for generations. It was a story of hope, of friendship, and of the strength that lies within when one dares to try. Nara had proven that even in quiet isolation, life could be full of wonder, growth, and new beginnings. With Tom by her side, she looked toward the horizon, ready to explore, to learn, and to share her newfound strength with the world. Viralaya, once a silent planet, now felt alive, and Nara, standing tall, knew that the future was full of endless possibilities.